Hello everybody and welcome back to Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. Last time we proved that Valerie was a mage. She has magical powers. So, and yeah. There's doubt that Wallace committed the murder now. Let's go back to investigating. I pressed load. Okay, that was weird. Val, you're back! Where's the produce for tonight's dinner? The grocers all said something. Someone already collected the deliveries. Do you think someone stole them? I bet word about the trial has gotten out already. They're definitely not going to sell to us anymore. Ugh. That damn attorney just had to go and ruin everything. Hey, he's trying to save a man's life. I don't know. I was watching the trial. Do you really think that Boyd killed Catherine? Of course he did! He's a necromancer, for crying out loud. What they said was true. I'm one too. You know that's not the same thing. You only use healing magic. Come on, help me prep some of the leftover meat. I bet we can still make some soup out of it. I hate this. Yeah, I know. The students are totally gonna complain about it. No, I hate magic. Sure, whatever, Val. What? They really like that pose, don't they? Tyrion, what are we doing here? I'm not sure. For some reason, I felt drawn to this place. I was supposed to make our way back to the academy, but I suddenly found myself here. It was strange, but I couldn't even remember how we'd arrived here. Wait, is that Eris? Celeste pointed further into the cemetery. Eris was standing there, in front of a gravestone. She was placing flowers on it and appeared to be chanting a short prayer. Well, we found her. We should probably talk to her later. It would be rude to disturb her now. As we were about to leave, Eris suddenly turned to face us. She was far away, but she'd clearly noticed us and was beckoning us over. Oh, hello there. Were you two looking for me? I didn't realize I hadn't the mic up. It's too late into the video now to restart. I think you'll still barely be able to hear me before, but... Sorry, we were looking for you. But we understand if you'd rather talk later. No, I was just finishing up here. Did you have something you wanted to talk to me about? Well, we wanted to ask you some questions about the case. Was he gonna say the same thing if I present this to you? Seriously? You're showing me the badge now? Badge? They're needed in stone. Okay. There's all gonna be different gravestones. It's a grave for an individual that I don't know. Out of respect, it'd be best to leave it undisturbed. There's a grave for an individual I don't know. It was the grave that Eris was attending to earlier. The name on the stone said Emily Grant. And her lifetime appears to be awfully short. She must have only been 12 years old when she died. It's a great... okay.
Repario Arcanum!
Okay. That was my first time watching a court trial. You were truly remarkable. Thank you. Were you in the gallery? I've always enjoyed watching physical battles in the theater. But now I see now that battles of wits can be just as entertaining to watch. Entertaining? Yeah, I know what you mean. You see, the odds are stacked against him, and then he suddenly pulls out this crazy deduction that takes the whole trial back. Ugh. Shit. Sorry. I've never really thought of it like that. But I'm sure it's far more entertaining to be the one making the deductions. I'm not really sure what you mean. I practice law so that I can help those persecuted by the justice system. I don't really do it to entertain myself. But is that really true? Don't you find the experience even the least bit entertaining, Tyrion? I wouldn't really put it that way. You're far too modest. You save people from the clutches of death. To your clients, you might as well be a knight in shining armor. Earlier you said that you were studying illusion magic. I am. Did you want to ask me about the prosecution's theory? Yes, actually. How'd you know? Disguising an undead with an illusion is definitely possible. As Lady Steele once said, illusory disguise would be the best spell to use for that. What if someone created a freestanding illusion? You know that Wallace didn't animate and disguise the professor's corpse. So, what if the illusion wasn't disguising anything? Maybe someone created a freestanding illusion of Bellwether walking around. For something like that, one would probably use Major Illusion. Obtain spell, Major Illusion. Oh, hold on, yeah. Evidence. Major Illusion. School Illusion. Incantation Meluzo. Gesture none. Duration while concentrating. Concentration? Yes. Creates a three-dimensional illusion. The illusion can take the form of any object or creature that can be contained in a 10-foot cube. While concentrating, the caster can animate and move the image to a different location within range. The illusion is purely visual and can't be physically touched. What is it? I don't think Major Illusion is what we're looking for. Do you remember what Jan said? I was cleaning a mess in the hallways. Bellwether knocked over a vase, and there were shards and dirt everywhere. If the Bellwether that Jan saw was a major illusion, then she couldn't have knocked over that vase. Illusions created by that spell don't have any mass. I see. How perceptive of you. Aren't there any other illusion spells that have mass? No, all known illusion spells in Wyvern Guard can only recreate visual and auditory sensations. None of those spells can create something that someone can touch. So that means that someone disguised something to make it look like Bellwether. Why the look of suspicion, Celeste? Sorry, I wasn't... Calm yourself. I was only joking. I don't blame you for considering every possibility. In fact, I'm flattered you think I'm even capable of pulling off such an elaborate ruse. Anyways, this does tell us one important thing. What's that? The Bellwether that Jan saw had a physical mass to it. It wasn't a freestanding illusion. It was someone disguised as her. Evidence updated. Jan's statement. 30 minutes before okay, that's the same. The Bellwether witnessed by Jan Hughes must have been disguised with an illusion. In addition to that, whoever he saw that day was physically there. It's quite a shame, isn't it? Eris looked pensively towards the gravestone. The name on the stone said Emily Grant, and her lifetime appeared to have been awfully short. She must have been only 12 years old when she died. Sorry for interrupting you. Was she someone you knew? I'm actually here on Wallace's behalf. Wallace knew her? Wallace joined the Academy as part of a program run by Headmaster Redmond. At the time, the headmaster was reaching out to mages among the common folk. He had started a program to admit them to the academy through a scholarship program. Both Emily and Wallace were among those mages. Wow! That must have been an amazing opportunity for them! The truth is, neither of them actually cared about learning magic. The real problem was that Emily had a deadly illness. She and Wallace were poor orphans, and they obviously didn't have the resources to treat it. But if they enrolled at the academy, the academy would be obligated to give her medical treatment. The Imperial Academy teaches the best mages in the kingdom. They thought that curing her illness would be an easy task for the academy's headmaster, the academy's healers. But they were mistaken, I'm afraid. Do we have him yet? No, we don't have Orem White. Why is he not in our people list? I'm sure you know this by now, but healing spells can only treat wounds. They can't cure illnesses. Emily's condition only got worse over the years, and eventually she succumbed to her illness. Wallace was furious. He didn't understand why the kingdom was outlawing magic that could save lives. And that's why he decided to learn it for himself. Yes, the headmaster was inspired by Wallace's resolve. He gave him access to the Academy's forbidden tomes of necromancy. And with the headmaster's guidance, Wallace learned the spells that he knows today. So that's why. It was supposed to stay a secret between him and the headmaster. But I'm sure you know how that turned out. Ah, creepy. Yeah, that's from yesterday. Oh, it's you, Mr. Cuthbert. Steelwind. What are you doing here? I once again came across Steelwind. Like yesterday, she was the only person in the room. But was she seriously carrying out the investigation alone here? Searching the classroom was one thing, but searching this entire library seemed a little ridiculous. After what happened at the trial yesterday, I decided it would be best to start my investigation here. Wallace was in the library for the entire morning. Excuse me, sorry. If she was insistent that he did it, this would probably be the best place. Actually, since I have you here, have you seen Eris Ilmater anywhere? It's my understanding that you're both acquainted with each other. Eris? What do you want with her? It's not for anything serious, mind you. It's just that the oaf of a commander lost her spell compendium. Now we need her to produce another one for our records. If you see her, please let her know that we'd like to speak to her. We saw her earlier in the cemetery nearby, but I have no idea where she is now. Once again, I have to compensate for that idiot's mistakes. Anyways, I was wondering if I could ask you some questions about the case. Very well. I suppose I still need to honor our deal from earlier. Have you had any luck finding the scene of the crime? Unfortunately, I haven't. From the witness's testimony, we have a rough idea of the route Bellwether took. But none of the rooms we've checked had any sign of a struggle. Ah! Why are you so sure that a struggle happened? I'm mainly basing that off of the Yana sisters' testimonies. Valerie in particular noticed that the bleeding came from a wound in her chest. Regrettably, the body's wounds were mended, so we can't determine what kind of weapon the murderer used. During the trial, you mentioned that another witness saw Bellwether walking around yesterday. Who is this person, and why haven't they been called to testify? I'm sorry, but I can't tell you that. Steelman's posture tightened. Something was making her uneasy. You've been pretty transparent with your investigation so far. I have no obligation to justify myself to you. Nor do you have an obligation to help the opposition. Didn't we have a deal? Hiding information doesn't exactly seem fair to us. I believe I've given you plenty of information already. So regardless of what I said before, the answer is still no. Her family is dangerous. The Eye of Force caught a stray thought from her. Her family is dangerous. What did she mean by that? Is there something about this witness's family that you're worried about? No. This could be a feint. I'm sorry, but you'll have to try harder than that if you want to bluff me. Why would she go to such lengths to hide one witness's identity? She was perfectly fine with revealing elements of the investigation yesterday. Maybe I needed to try looking somewhere else. I don't think I can fill it up much. Okay, I don't think I can fill it up at all. Why am I going to the menu? I don't know why I'm going to the menu. There's nothing in the menu for me. Why are you going to the locker room? We spent some time wandering through the academy. That's when we overheard a conversation from a nearby room. From what I understand, Miss Steelwind has already moved the investigation elsewhere. How long must I wait before I can retrieve my things? Sorry, old-timer. Orders are orders. Nothing comes in or out till the case is over and done with. Commander White? And Headmaster too? Oh, hello, Mr. Cuthbert. Hey, kid. In any case, there are other matters I must attend to. Please inform me when I can reclaim my things. Sure thing. It looked like Commander White was standing guard in front of this locker room. But it didn't look like he was conducting any sort of investigation. Was he here on Steelman's orders? Might be able to tell us who this secret witness was. There are several lockers in this room, and it'd be a waste of time to search through them all without any leads. I should speak with Commander White first. What was the headmaster talking to you about? He had some items stored in one of the faculty lockers. The problem is, Steelwind said no one gets in or out of this room. Except for her and you two, I guess. She won't even let the other knights in here. Really? Is that normal? Nope, but things really are when she's calling the shots. I just go with it. Why would she give me access to the crime scene if she wasn't even letting the knights in? Obtained evidence. Steelwind's orders. With the exception of me and Celeste McCoy, Prosecutor Steelwind isn't allowing anyone inside key areas of the Academy. She isn't even allowing the Knights of the Inquisition within these areas. She appears to be conducting the investigation single-handedly. I don't know what her deal is, but she's been acting strange today. Strange lately. She's been really paranoid, that girl. Frankly, I can't tell what's going through her head. You mentioned that the prosecutor has been paranoid lately. Do you think it has something to do with this case? Nah, it started way before that. Lately, she's been using the Inquisition to investigate a lot of non-magical homicides. What? Wouldn't it be easier to work with the relevant law enforcement for that? I don't know why, but she's convinced that these cases have magic involved. But every time we scan one of those crime scenes, nothing turns up. I gotta say though, if it weren't for the scans, I might actually agree with her. Why do you say that? Those homicides, I haven't seen anything like them. They're probably some of the most screwed up cases I've ever handled. I've seen some things. For one of those cases, we had ourselves a disgruntled spouse. She found out that her man had been going around town with a barkeep. If you catch my meaning. Wait, what do you mean? They were making the beast with two backs. What? He was two-timing her. I don't know this lingo, Orem. Oh my god, he was a married man having sex with another woman, Tyrion. Oh! Okay. Anyways, you know what that spouse does? She stalks the poor woman. She started leaving threatening notes all around where she worked. The barkeep told the city watch all about what was happening. No matter how much they staked out the tavern, they could never catch her. Then one day the barkeep arrived home. Little did she know, the spouse was waiting there for her. The poor lady never had a chance. Then to tie the whole thing together, the spouse waits for her husband to get home. She cooks him a big meat pie, using the barkeep's remains. Wow, that story is pretty... I know. Steelwind thinks someone's developed a new type of magic that can control people's minds. And these homicides were some kind of sick test run. Magic that can affect people's minds. Wouldn't Mage Blight make more sense? Mage Blight? When a mage uses their magic, it can have pretty bad consequences on their mind. They temporarily lose grip of reality and begin seeing things that aren't there. When a mage becomes like that, it almost never ends well. They basically become psychotic. They enter offensively and firing spells randomly, which only makes it worse. I've seen my fair share of Mage Blight cases, and this wasn't like that. Not all of the perps were mages. The ones that were didn't even use their spells. One thing was that each of the perps almost seemed to wake up after we arrested them. All of them said things like, "It wasn't me," or "I didn't have a choice." They didn't have a choice? What could that mean? I doubt it means anything. Sometimes people can't face the things they've done. It's easier to say that you had no control than to take responsibility. I wonder if I can mislead the commander into revealing who the secret witness is. During the trial, Steelwind mentioned that someone other than Jan Hughes saw Bellwether walking around. Have you seen them around lately? We wanted to speak with them. Ah, nice try, kid. Well, it was worth a shot. Honestly, I couldn't tell you if I wanted to. I don't think anyone other than Steelwind knows who this witness is. I sure as hell don't. What? She was even hiding it from the Inquisition commander? Why was she being so secretive? It seemed like the commander didn't know who the secret witness was either. Ah! This isn't getting us anywhere! Steelwind's behavior is strange, though. Perhaps we could try analyzing her behavior. If I did that, I might be able to figure out why she's acting so strangely. Let's take a moment to work through this. Steelwind's behavior has been strange this time around. She's hiding elements of this case, even from the commander. Anyone can see that she doesn't have much faith in him. I'm standing right here. But this is the first time I've seen her hide key details of a case from him. What is motivating Steelwind to keep secrets? There has to be a reason why she's being so secretive.
What if?
Her actions must be driven by paranoia. She's been hoarding information about the case, after all. There's only one reason why she wouldn't utilize the Inquisition like she usually does. It's because she doesn't trust them. I hate to say it, but that doesn't really surprise me. She's always been standoffish with us. But there is one exception. Who has Steelwind trusted for this case? There are individuals whom she's trusted more than the Inquisition during this case. Me. He's let us investigate the crime scenes without any restrictions. Yeah, I didn't notice that until now. Does she really trust us that much? I don't think personal trust is the reason. Why does Steelwind trust us this time? We don't usually interact with her, and she's worked with the Inquisition on plenty of cases that we weren't even involved in. Tyrion isn't controlled by the nobility. Steelwind doesn't know much about us, but she does know that we aren't prone to noble corruption. Right, you did just indict a noble last week. Meanwhile, the Inquisition usually bends to the nobility's whims. Can't argue with you there. What can I infer about the secret witness? Using my intuition, I could tell that she's worried about the witness's family. And she's worried about corruption from the nobility. That can only mean one thing. The witness is a noble.
What if?
The witness has to belong to a noble family. That's why she was so wary of interference. But we're obviously not going to do anything corrupt. Why is she hiding the witness's identity from us? I remember that thought I saw through the eye. So regardless of what I said before, the answer is still no. Her family is dangerous. She's worried about our safety. Yeah, because harassing a noble could put you in danger, but... I'm the protege of the infamous Ruby Timora. Yeah, it's not as if we were already on the It's not as if we weren't already on the nobility's bad side. I'm sure House Pierce still has it out for us. They are definitely the ones sending those rogues onto your house. What? Don't worry about it. I've got it under control. This can only mean that the family we're dealing with is even more powerful than House Pierce. If the prosecutor is wary of them, they must be as powerful as the Steelwinds. Wait. Don't tell me you think we're dealing with another one of the Four Pillars. I have to ask about that. I always hear you and Ruby say it a lot, but who are the Four Pillars? It's the name people use for the four most powerful noble houses. They're led by the dukes and duchesses. House Freyga, House von Sanctus, House Sybil, and of course House Steelwind. And the four of them stand at the top of Wyverngard's hierarchy. So Steelwind is one of them! The evidence obtained evidence. The Four Pillar families. The Four Pillars refer to the four most powerful noble houses. These houses are House Steelwind, House Freyga, House von Sanctus, and House Sybil. What is it? Steelwind's paranoia all started after she investigated this room. We were at the crime scene and she left to follow a lead. But an hour later she came back to the lecture hall and basically booted everyone out. Her behavior changed after investigating this room. That means she found something here. And that something must point to a family other than the family from the Four Pillars. Commander shifted slightly. You know, Steelwind's orders say I can't snoop around here. I can't snoop around here. But you two, on the other hand... Don't worry. Just leave it to us. I have some school records that say which locker belongs to which student. You can use it to tell whose locker you're looking at. Oh, arcane construct in the back here. It's probably here to aid the students. Anyways, I don't think it's relevant to our investigation. Just in case, I made a note of it in my runestone. Construct into the locker room. There appears to be an inactive arcane construct in the academy locker room. What is with that picture? That picture is so weird. Please don't tell me it's AI. I hope it's not AI. I used the legend that the commander gave me. I looked carefully across the list to find the names of some notable students. I opened the locker with Wallace's ID number. Inside, I found a bottle of fragrant liquid and something that looks like a makeup kit. Huh? Why does Wallace have this stuff? It did seem strange, but it wasn't my place to judge. I should take a look through the other lockers. Use the legend that can. Okay. I opened the locker with Miriam Frega's ID number. Inside, I found several stacks of worn-out textbooks and notebooks. Wait a minute. These notebooks all have Wallace's name on them. I opened the notebook and quickly scanned through its pages. It appeared to be notes on the art of necromancy. These are Wallace's notebook. Oh, these are Wallace's notebooks. But why are they in Miriam Frega's locker? Did she steal his things? What was going on here? I began taking all of the textbook and notebooks one after another. The locker was really cramped, but then I noticed a stain near the back of it. I quickly took everything out to get a better look at it. What? I think this is dried blood. Wait, Celeste, scan it for traces. No, there aren't any traces on it. Obtained evidence in the locker. There's a stain of blood inside the lock with Miriam Frega's ID number. The blood does not have any traces of magic on it. I used the legend that the commander gave me. Okay. I opened the locker with Jaden Von Sanctus's ID number. Inside I found several bottles of some kind of transparent lotion. There's nothing but lotion in here. And also a distinct smell. Oh! I wonder why a student would need this much lotion. I took one of the bottles to inspect it more closely. Wait, Tyrion, don't touch those with your hands! From the label, it appears to be some kind of sanitizing liquid. It's a little strange, but it doesn't seem to be related to the case. Why are there so many sex jokes in this game? I opened the locker with Warren Sybil's ID number. Inside, I found some textbooks and a neatly stacked deck of tarot cards. Oh, it's like those cards that fortune tellers use. I wonder if this student studies divine magic. But anyways, I don't think it's related to the case. I used the legend that the commander gave me. Okay. We found a few things, but I can't really make any sense of any of it. We should look at this from the prosecutor's perspective. Steven found something in one of the lockers. This locker had the most suspicious evidence. And whatever that was, it made her extremely paranoid. Miriam. We found some insanely suspicious things in Frega's locker. It had Wallace's notebooks and even some blood. But that blood is certainly strange. It implies that something bloody was stored in there. It could only be the murder weapon. Do you think someone stole it? No, actually. I think it was Steelwind who took it. Oh, right. Ori mentioned that she investigated this room. She must have taken the murder weapon as evidence. But with that said, there's something else that's strange about Miriam Frega's locker. It had a lot of Wallace's possessions. It's possible that she really did steal those items from him, but it's more likely that this locker isn't actually hers. Remember what Wallace told us before? Sometimes the students would steal the ID number off my locker and switch it with another student's. I thought it was funny whenever that student got angry with me. So, someone switched the nameplates. This means that this isn't Miriam Frego's locker. It's Wallace's. But that would mean that the bloody object came from Wallace's locker! It appears so. Evidence updated. Evidence in the locker. Stain of blood inside the locker with Miriam Frego's ID number. The locker actually belongs to Wallace. Night group. Someone must have switched the ID numbers with Miriam's locker. If that's true, why didn't Steelwind present the bloody item during the trial? I proved that Bellwether was wounded before Valerie healed her. Wouldn't that have been the perfect time to present what she found? It was a bloody item from the defendant's locker, after all. Right, that is weird. There's something more to this that I wasn't seeing, but what? I think we'll just have to ask Steelwind ourselves. Okay, back to the library. We should have enough information now. Let's have a talk with the prosecutor. Please just tell me what's wrong. Are you mad at me? I'm not mad, okay? Can we just get to work? The twins' voices rang out from the kitchen. It sounded like they were in an argument. Do you think they're okay? It sounds private. We shouldn't get involved. I guess you're right. I slowly closed the door to the library and kept my mind on the investigation. Fine. You wanna know what I think? You don't get to say that you hate magic. Look at how many problems it's causing for us. Yeah, for this dumb job. None of this even matters for you. What? Those people from the church always say that mages are chosen by divine right. And they're right. You don't get to complain about being better than me, Val. I'm not better than you. Yes, you are. And I'm so sick of pretending you're not. You were helping Jan while I was jealous of how easy I thought his job was. You outed yourself as a mage trying to save Catherine. Bloody Bellwether. Tina, that's not... I hate how much I'm holding you back. I know you. I know you had been I know how hard you've been working in the library. You're destined for great things. Tina, I haven't learned anything. Come on, don't give me that! You've been heading straight to the library after work for years. Yeah, and I still haven't learned anything. What? I can't wrap my head around how it all works. I've been trying for years. I don't understand ether, I don't understand spell formulas. It's like they're speaking another language. I can do magic, but I'm nothing like the students here. But you know healing magic? It's the most basic spell. Children in the theurgy program learn that in their first class. It took me years to even figure that out. Why didn't you ever tell me about this? Because magic is the only thing I have. You're better than me at everything. What? I'm not. I'm always making mistakes and forcing you to clean up after me. I only have this job because you begged the headmaster to hire me with you. You're amazing. The students here are spoiled aristocrats, and they love your food. I can't even fry an egg right. You're the one holding us back. Do you really think my cooking is that good? I don't think I could live without eating your food every day. Remember when I was just learning to cook at the orphanage? We were just a pair of dumb kids, but you were there with me every step of the way. You were there for me. I would have never gotten this good if you weren't always with me. Tina, I'm sorry I never told you this sooner. I could never do this without you. Excuse me? Neither could I. I'm sorry for being so stupid before. It's okay. I was also being... We should just get started on that soup. Right! Can you help me grab all the leftover meat from the freezer? Oh, you're back. We've uncovered a few things during our investigation. Steelwind, are you acquainted with a student named Miriam Frege? She shifted slightly. It was subtle, but I could see her discomfort. I underestimated him. I said it before, Mr. Cuthbert. I won't fall for such an obvious bluff. It's not a bluff, Steelwind, and I'll prove it using the evidence we've gathered. Steelwind, is it possible that this case involves a pillar family other than you? Her eyes twitched ever so slightly. As I said before, you'll do better than that. You'll have to do better than that if you want to bluff me. Okay. I don't think it's supposed to go that much. But okay. Steelwind was paranoid, and for whatever reason it was due to the involvement of Miriam Frege. If I could convince her to reveal why she's being so secretive, she might give me more information. Steelwind suspects that Miriam Frege is involved in this crime somehow. Miriam belongs to a pillar family, and casting suspicion on her would cause them to intervene. The prosecutor wants to avoid that outcome at all costs. That fear could be used against her. You've been behaving strangely, Steelwind. Even the Knights of the Inquisition have noticed. Just tell me the truth. Why are you being so paranoid? I'm not sure what you're trying to imply, Mr. Cuthbert. Nothing about my behavior has changed. I've prosecuted the defendant the same way I've always have. You've ordered the Knights to stay away from the crime scene, and you've even taken it upon yourself to conduct the investigation yourself. That is not normal behavior for a prosecutor. I took those actions because the Inquisition is incompetent. How could I possibly trust them with anything? The Knights are incompetent, but even you can see the value of delegation. During Celeste's case, you still delegated tasks to the Inquisition. You could have easily investigated the McCoy Tavern yourself. This academy is huge. You wouldn't conduct your investigation this way unless you had a good reason. Then why don't you enlighten me? Why would I act in such a way? What would cause me to behave so strangely? The four pillar families. You know that the Inquisition is corrupt and will bend to the nobility. So what would happen if a powerful noble were publicly involved in this case? With that noble's influence, they'd probably order the Inquisition to conceal their involvement. A high-profile noble is involved in this case, Steelwind, and I believe that noble is Miriam Frege. Again, with this, do you think you can bluff me by throwing out the names of random nobles? Not every noble is a malevolent criminal like Garrick Pierce. I've said it before and I'll say it again. My investigation doesn't involve the Freges. Nothing about this case has anything to do with House Frege. Then how do you explain this, Steelwind? Oh. The commander told us that you were following a lead in the locker room yesterday. We investigated the lockers of students from the four pillar families, and we found stains of blood in a locker with Miriam Frege's ID number, and it was presumably left by a bloody object. The bloody object must have been taken by someone, and you became extremely paranoid after you found something in the locker room. If I had to guess, I'd say that you took the bloody object as evidence. And what evidence do you have to support these outrageous claims? What? The only thing you have is evidence of a bloodstain. There's a myriad of explanations for that. Everything else you mentioned is pure speculation. You can't prove that piece of evidence exists. I could have found any number of things in that room, or possibly nothing at all. If you don't present what you found in court, I'll have no choice but to pull the owner of that locker onto the stand. Let's not be coy, Miss Steelwind. Anyone can tell that the bloodstain is the most notable thing in that room. Hiding evidence, Miss Steelwind? Do you not see how wrong that is? Yeah. Threaten. You found an object in the locker with Miriam Frega's nameplate on it. If you don't present what you found to the court, I'll have no choice but to pull the owner of that locker onto the stand. That's ridiculous. We both know that locker in question belongs to Wallace Nightgrave. Can you unequivocally prove that, Steelwind? Because the way I see it, there's a lot of room for doubt there. Enough doubt for me to pull Lady Frega onto the witness stand. But if I had more context, maybe I wouldn't have to resort to that. Her brow furrowed a bit. She was searching for a counter-argument. But she just exhaled in resignation. I'd finally gotten her. Argument won, because we're gods. Well played, Mr. Cuthbert. I suppose I don't have a choice, do I? Just so we're clear, I wasn't acting to protect the nobility. But I'll admit that Miriam Frega was the other witness that saw Bellwether that day. I see. I had some suspicions, but... There's also another matter. Steelwind tensed once again. She was still hesitant. When I was investigating the body, I found this. Evidence of academic dishonesty? A tightly packed folder containing several documents. The documents contain evidence detailing multiple instances of plagiarism, fraud, bribery of school officials, and various other offenses committed by Miriam Frega. Holy fuck! What the? It looks like Miriam's been cheating! But why would Bellwether have something like this? And the way it's arranged in this folder, I think it might have been blackmail. Miriam Frega is considered a prodigy in the practice of conjuration magic. She's won a litany of awards. She will most definitely graduate with honors. If these files were to reach the public, it would absolutely ruin her reputation. Do you think that the professor was trying to threaten her? It appears so. When I discovered this, several elements of the case were still unknown. That's when I found this in Wallace Nightgrave's locker. Bloody rapier. A rapier covered in blood. It was found in Wallace Nightgrave's locker. Apparently, it's a valuable family heirloom to House Frega. It was reported stolen by Miriam Frega weeks before the murder. This is... It's very likely that this was the murder weapon. The rapier is a valuable family heirloom for House Frega. And a few weeks ago, Miriam reported that the rapier was stolen from her room. Why was it found in Wallace's locker? Not that I'm complaining, but why didn't you present this in court? To be honest, I'd like to avoid involving House Frega by any means. I knew it! You're protecting her, aren't you? Miss McCoy, do you recall how Wyvern Guard's justice system works? To acquit a defendant, you need to unequivocally prove that they didn't commit the crime. To do that, they either need a solid alibi, or we need to prove that someone else committed the crime. What do you suppose will happen if you bring Miriam Frege onto the stand? House Frege won't allow one of its members to be indicted in a court of law. They'll plant and forge evidence to implicate your defendant, and they'll use the Inquisition to do so. Even I wouldn't be able to stop them, should it come to that. So that's why you've been keeping them away from the investigation. Can't you do anything? I thought that the Steel Winds were powerful too. I don't have the support in my house. Right now, I'm just the prosecutor. Nothing more. Steelwind, you know that this isn't fair for us. Just do nothing. Do nothing and let us win. Celeste. If we can't go after Miriam, then you can at least help us save Wallace. I'm not going to do that. Why? What if Miriam Frege is the real killer? Her sword is the murder weapon and Bellwether was trying to blackmail her. I seem to recall another case where an innocent person's sword was used to frame them. That's... As a prosecutor, it is not my place to decide who's guilty and who's not. I won't engage in corruption, even if it's to counter corruption from another noble house. I'm sorry. But do you know where Miriam is right now? Did you not hear what I just said? You can't let her think that there's even the slightest possibility you'll indict her. She'll bring the entire wrath of House Frege down on you. I won't be able to protect you if that happens. I don't need your protection. And I can't do anything for Wallace unless I know everything that happened. Frege has the last piece I need to put everything together. Well, I suppose I don't have much of a choice, do I? The dormitory is room 107. I imagine that she'll be there, considering the classes are suspended. Thank you, Steelwind. If I don't tell you, I'm sure you'll probably just find out using some other means. But please, Mr. Cuthbert, exercise caution. I followed Steelwind's directions and found Miriam Frege's dorm room. The door leading inside seemed to be a lot more ornately decorated than the other rooms. I went to knock on the door, not realizing that it was only partially closed. As my fist came into contact with the wood, I accidentally pushed it open. As the door swung open, I made eye contact with the girl inside. She seemed to be studying at a desk, but she was now staring at me, stunned. I slowly saw her expression shift from a puzzled look to a furious and violent scowl. Excuse me? How dare you barge into my room? These insects, they have no respect. Sorry, I was trying to knock, but... Construct, remove these hoodlums from my room. Acknowledged. In the corner of the room, an arcane construct stood up and began charging towards me at a terrifying speed. Before I even knew what was happening, it raised its fist to strike me. Flustered, I fell back and raised my arms to shield myself. I closed my eyes, bracing for the impending impact. But instead, I heard the clang of steel striking stone. Confused, I opened my eyes to see Celeste standing between the construct and me. Her sword was drawn, and it was locked with the construct's fist. Despite the construct's imposing size and strength, Celeste was slowly pushing it back. Upon taking a closer look at Celeste, the girl narrowed her eyes. Construct, stand down. Acknowledged. I'm terribly sorry for that. I wasn't aware that this man was your servant. I mean, I wouldn't call her my servant, but technically it's the other way around. She works for me. Celeste's hand was firmly clenched around the hilt of her sword, but she put it away without another word. I haven't noticed you around campus. Are you a new student? If the academy allowed her to bring her retainer, she must be important. My god. What are you talking about? I saw an opportunity. Yes, my master just enrolled here recently. What? Celeste squinted at me, confused. I just tilted my head towards Miriam. Yes, I just started here. I take it you're Miriam Frege? Yes, it seems that my reputation precedes me. Miriam Frege, occupation student, age 17. I can hardly read that text, man. The spoiled daughter of House Frege, one of the four pillar families. She's extremely arrogant, but appears to excel at her studies at the Imperial Academy. I can imagine that she has many genuine friends. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, lady. I'm Celeste. She caught herself. Pausing for what was a very awkward moment. Miss Steel! Wind! I'm Celeste Steelwind. Steelwind! Yes. You could have done literally anything. You could have just made up a name, ma'am. Was she serious? There's no way Miriam was going to believe. Steelwind? It's a pleasure to meet another member of such an esteemed house. She must be from a distant branch family. Father may have a use for her. Wait, she was actually buying this? I just moved in, and I thought that I should introduce myself. Seeing as you're a top student in the field of conjugation. Conjuration? Yes. So I guess changed to Steelwind in quotes. Well, there's no backing out now. Wait. I don't think it would lead to a game over if I presented my thing. But I'm gonna present it anyways. A runestone? I have one as well, but mine is the latest model. You have a newer model? Can I see it? What? No! It was a table for guests, but it didn't look like it'd seen much use until now. It was an extravagant bed. Miriam appeared to live pretty well here. Yeah, it doesn't seem like I can investigate anything else.
Arcane!
Nothing. See, I wish we could use the detect magic thing a bit more. Miss Frege, I was wondering if we could ask you some questions about... Excuse me? I don't believe anyone has permitted you to speak. Oh, here we go. Celeste was still smiling, but I could faintly hear her grinding her teeth together. So, we heard about what happened to Professor Bellwether. I can't believe it. Yes, it's quite tragic what happened to her. She had always been a friend of House Frege. She was obviously going to be more receptive to Celeste Steelwind. It might be better to let Celeste take the lead on the questioning. We heard that you saw her on the day of the murder. Could you tell us more about what happened? Oh, you heard about that from your relative, did you? If you don't mind me asking, why are you so interested? She's not like Arya, is she? I'm just curious is all. You know how uneventful life can be sometimes? Being a noble and all. Alright, she really needed to tone it down. Oh, is that all? I was worried you were going down the same path as that poor, confused Arya. Well, I'm in the middle of a study break anyway. I suppose I have some time to spill some tea. Speaking of, Construct, please prepare us some tea. Use that lotus tea we imported from the Eastern Kingdoms. She might be useful. I should win her favor. Acknowledged. Lotus tea? You have lotus tea? I could feel myself slowly losing control of the situation. I heard that you were one of the last people who saw the professor. Where did this happen? I was in the hallways when I saw her coming out of the headmaster's office. She appeared to be heading towards the library. Do you remember what time this happened? I'm not really sure, honestly. It's a little embarrassing. I have a bad habit of getting too absorbed in my work. Sometimes entire hours will pass without my notice. Do you have a rough idea, at least? I believe it was in the morning. So it was before her meeting with Headmaster. Did anything seem off about her? No. It was a short encounter. I mostly greeted her, and she responded in kind. Or at least, that's what should have happened. That thought just now. What did it mean? I slowly glanced at Celeste and caught her attention. Using small motions, I shook my head. Miriam was holding something back. Were you and the professor really on good terms? I heard she was pretty mean towards the other students. Towards the riffraff, maybe, but not to students like us. She was my personal instructor during summer break. She fulfilled a similar role to to my sister when she studied here. She was a longtime friend of House Frege. That's why we were planning on appointing her as the new headmaster. Wait, what did you just say? Did you just say that they were going to appoint Bellwether as the new headmaster? Oh, I'm surprised you didn't know. House Frege holds several seats on the Academy's board, along with the Grand General. We were making plans to have her replace that loud Redmond. They were going to sack the headmaster? Did Headmaster Redmond know about this? Oh, of course not. That was part of a large-scale plan. Along with Redmond, we're also going to replace all the staff members with Arcane constructs. We had to keep everything under wraps, or else the help would have left before we were ready. And where would that leave us? But Jan supposedly overheard Bellwether talking about the constructs. Did Bellwether prematurely reveal the plan to Theodore? Or was Jan lying about how he found out? But alas, with Bellwether gone, we'll have to delay our plans. Evidence updated Bellwether's plan. House Frege was planning to fire Headmaster Theodore Redmond and replace him with Catherine Bellwether. They were also planning to fire all of the Academy staff and replace them with arcane constructs. This was supposed to be kept a secret, but according to Jan, Bellwether revealed this plan to the headmaster during a meeting a few weeks ago. So, we heard that Arya took your rapier as evidence for the case. Can you believe her? She still won't give it back to me! My father will have my head if I can't get it back soon. How did it even become part of the investigation anyways? I don't know! Arya won't tell me anything. I swear if that necromancer was the one who stole it, I'll execute him myself. So someone did steal it from you? Yes, from right out of my room. When did this happen? About a few weeks ago. I noticed when I came back from one of my classes. Someone removed the rapier from its display case in my room. How did they get into your room in the first place? Do you think someone used magic to teleport past the door? Please, I'm a master of conjuration magic. If someone attempted that, my enchantments would have shunted them out. That meant that the thief came through one of the doors or windows. I bet it was that necromancer. I'm sure a street child like him just knows how to pick a lock. I've heard that you're one of the Academy's top students. Your grades must be amazing. Of course. And as an inheritor of House Frege, my grades are impeccable. It feels good to have my greatness recognized. That was strange. I didn't say anything contradictory through the Eye of Horus this time. Was she just delusional about how good a student she was? I gestured to Celeste to continue pressing her. Oh, what kind of magic do you study here? You must be joking. I study magic from the School of Conjuration, just like most members of my house. The School of Conjuration. That's the type of magic that specializes in spatial manipulation, right? Yes, I consider myself quite the expert in that field. Why, the Crown Prince himself has asked for my assistance in a research study. It's nice to finally work with someone of my caliber. Again, I didn't see any thoughts that contradict what she was saying. If she was smart enough to get the Crown Prince's attention, why would she be cheating? You said something about my wayward relative before? Were you talking about Arya? Oh, I'm terribly sorry if I offended you. But I'm sure it must pain you to see the way that she's been acting lately. Yes, it's been extremely hard. Hang in there, Celeste. Did you know that she even interrogated me about the murder yesterday? Can you believe it? A steel wind running around the crime scene with a common knight. Why? If I tried something like that, my father would disown me. She's so desperate to prove that she's nothing like her father. Is that really what you believe? Or are you just hiding the fact that you're here on your father's behalf? I am not working with my father. I working against him. 0 out of 10. Literally unplayable. Just as much as you. I'm working against him just as much as you are. My apologies. I didn't mean to lose my temper like that. Is that why she became a prosecutor? Was it all to reject her bloodthirsty father? Honestly, she probably thinks she can do anything just because of her betrothed. She's so full of herself. Aster deserves better. But if the Grand General keeps drowning these villages in blood, I imagine even that will be in jeopardy. And when that happens, I'll steal him back. Celeste's eyes perked up. I'd be lying if I said mine didn't too. I was curious about who this Aster was, but I shook my head when she looked at me. I couldn't risk blowing her cover for some gossip about the prosecutor. You have an arcane construct in your room. I thought they were only in the library in the locker room. This construct was a gift from House Von Sanctus. I have to say, they are quite convenient to have around. They look really cool. Maybe I should get one. You should. A contract would be far more useful than this attendant of yours. Yeah, maybe. Unfortunately, there are still some issues with their intelligence. Their intelligence? It happens when you give them complex commands. It might be easier to show you. Miriam turned to the construct and began beckoning it over. Construct, please retrieve my textbooks and bring them here. Then cast Deal and Strike at this location. After that, retrieve some plates and set them out on this table. Acknowledged. What? The contract stood up and retrieved Miriam's textbooks from one of the shelves in the room. It brought them to the table they were sitting at, just like she'd ordered. But then it suddenly stopped. Wait, what happened? The construct obviously can't cast Steal and Strike, so my second command was impossible to carry out. But did you notice something else? It ignored your third command too. Exactly. My third command was possible to carry out. Constructs execute a series of commands in the order that they are given. But let's just say one of those tasks is impossible to complete. When the construct gets to that task, it will deem the entire series impossible to complete. As a result, it will stop executing the series altogether. Evidence obtained. Construct's intelligence. Arcane constructs process tasks in the order that they are given. If a construct is ordered to complete tasks A, B, and C, it will process each of those tasks individually. If task B is impossible, the construct won't realize this until it reaches task B. When it reaches task B, it will deem the entire series of commands as impossible and stop doing what it's doing, without even attempting to complete task C. Lady Steelwind, I'm afraid we must leave now if we want to make our next engagement. Oh, right! Let's go, servant. Oh, leaving already. It was a pleasure talking to you. Yeah, sure. See you around. I made my way back to the foyer with Celeste. with all the time we'd spent, we only had a brief amount of time before night fell. But luckily, we'd found a lot during our investigation. Are you saying you didn't want to talk to her more? We're getting a lot out of her. We already got a lot of useful information out of her. The more time we spend with her, the more likely she is to see through our ruse and warn the prosecution. Right. So, why Steelwind? I don't know! I panicked! I don't remember any of the other house's names. Pierce would have had a lower profile. I'm not using that creep's name! Hopefully, Steelwind doesn't mind us borrowing her name. And we got her statement on what she saw that day. There's also what she said about her rapier. I bet she was lying lying when she said it was stolen. She was probably just trying to establish an alibi. I'm not so sure. Why do you say that? Doesn't it feel too obvious? If she was lying about her rapier being stolen, that would imply that she planned all of this in advance. But if she had to choose a murder weapon, why would she choose something that literally has her family's name on it? I'd understand if the murder was a spur-of-the-moment decision and somehow occurred in her dorm room. In a situation like that, she might have just used something nearby. But if this was a premeditated murder committed by Miriam, that rapier would be the last weapon she would choose. Right! I guess that makes sense. There's also the evidence of academic dishonesty. It doesn't match up with what we heard from Miriam. You mean all that stuff about working with the Crown Prince? She was probably just making things up to look good in front of me. I have an insight when it comes to things like this. Under certain circumstances, I can usually tell when someone's lying. I'd be able to see through a lie as grandiose as that. People could subconsciously shield themselves from the eye of Horus, even if they didn't know about it. But when they did that, I wouldn't be able to see any thoughts from them. I saw that she was lying about her encounter with Bellwether. I would have seen dissonant thoughts if she were lying about her grades too. Well, I guess your insight has never failed us before. But what does this mean? I don't know. Even with everything we've found, I'm still not sure who the real culprit is. At the very least, I think we should try to pull Miriam onto the stand. If she testifies in court, we might be able to find something I can use. But that was a big maybe. She was the daughter of the Duke of Finance. If I didn't play my cards right, that move could spook the judge enough to make him and the trial end there. That move could spook the judge enough to make him end the trial then and there. Wait, do we have time to kill? Do you want to head back to the library? You could continue your research. She was fidgeting with her hands. Her feet were already shuffling toward the library doors. You just want to read Dagger of Daggerfall, don't you? Dagger at Daggerfall. It's Death at Daggerfall, and it's a great series! Every time I try to pick one of those books up, I figure out who the killer is within the first few chapters. Yeah? Well, I'm a normal human being, okay? I'm not some murder-solving prodigy. Why don't you go read one of those Wraithbound books? Maybe you'll find the unpublished sequel there, too. Celeste, that series has been finished for centuries. The nobility paid Corin Bloomvale to write stories about evil necromancers. He's a sellout. Witches are magically impossible, but people still just eat that nonsense up. That man single-handedly threw the study of necromancy back into the Stone Age. What's wrong? I can't stop thinking about what Wallace said about Corin Bloomvale. Look, I get that you really like that series, but they're just books, Tyrion. They're more to me than that. Those books inspired me to do what I'm doing now. Wait. The story about the magic light swords inspired you to become a defense attorney? A long time ago, I experienced firsthand how corrupt Wyvern Guard was. I started assuming that the nobles would always win. But those books made me want to believe in a world where good could triumph over evil against all odds. And if I had never done that, if I had never had that, I don't know if I'd be here today. I get that. But Wallace really cares a lot about necromancy too. We've been feeling the stigma against it for this entire case. Is it really so hard to believe that those books contributed how bad things are for him? You've said it yourself. It's one of the most popular books out there. Do you even know what kind of person Corin Bloomvale was? Not really. So he could have been paid off by the nobility to write those books? No. Someone who did that could never write something so beautiful. I'll grant you that it's likely he played into harmful stereotypes about necromancers. But I'm sure that it was just an honest mistake. I'm sure there are historical records that will note his many good deeds and contributions to society. Maybe if I show Wallace that, he'll understand that he wasn't all that bad. Sure. I looked over to her. She was already shuffling towards the entrance of the library. Alright, let's just go. Woohoo! She barely acknowledged me. She flung open the doors to the library and ran inside. By the time I entered the library, she was already sitting at the table, her eyes glued to the unpublished manuscript. Alright, where to start? Ah, here we go. Corin Bloomvale's autobiography. An hour later. That's weird. That hour flew by. I still couldn't finish. Oh my god, how many books did you get? He was a Steelwind, Celeste! What? He wasn't just paid by the nobility, he was of the nobility! Is that in the historical records? No, it's all one giant conspiracy! I found his old submissions to writing competitions that he'd made under his original name. The prose he used back then matches his style too closely. It's uncanny when you compare them. Some of these submissions even contain story elements that he later used and polished in Wraithbound. How did you even... His real name was Lorenzo Steelwind, born in the year 208. He deserted the army and was disowned by his family, but he was deserted by the army and was disowned by his family, but they paid him off, Celeste. They saw that the masses liked his writing. They corrupted him. They used his artistry as a weapon to turn the public against the necromancers. And he just went with it. They dangled his inheritance in front of him like a carrot on a stick. Tyrion, what in the actual hell? We've only been here for an hour. I know. If I just had more time, I could find enough evidence to prove this once and for all. I'm sure if I can take a few more hours to... What? Tyrion, no! Wallace's trial is tomorrow morning. Scaled Lord, how could I forget? It's fine, let's just... I also want to hear about what I found. Okay, whatever, let's just go home. Naught could remain concealed, Celeste! Sure, Tyrion. You did great. Good job. Naught could remain concealed! Oh my god. Oh, I love that. It's so funny. Oh, please become a running gag. Please become a running gag. Anyways, we will finish out this case, I think. I think we're gonna finish this case. And defend Wallace next time. Bye-bye!